Hey everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am here with a Doodlebug design team project using the brand new Hello Again. So what I've done here is a mini traveler's notebook, mini planner, whatever you want to call it, using the new heavyweight acetate for the cover and then just doing a chipboard back and my own little inserts for this. So I used the new coral twine on the spine for my inserts, to hold my inserts in, that is. I've got one of the tags from the bits and pieces on the front, one of the stickers from the this and that sticker sheet, icons. This is a flower from the this and that with a chunky brad. For the closure, I did a little bit differently. So you can see here I've got the little charmers, the little mini charms that are brand new with this collection. And what I did for my closure is I did like the string closure, but I did it with some very thin jewelry twine so that I could put those little charms on that, just for something different. So this is going to come around here. You open it up. We've got another one of those tags on the back. I meant to put a flower on the back side of that too, and I forgot, but that's okay. And then we've just got our little inserts that I made myself with some paper from the Dollar Tree, and then a second one here. This piece and this are from the tag cut apart sheet. This is from the bits and pieces. And then I did leave my back piece here just with the pattern paper, and I did not mat or decorate the backs of my little inserts, but you could take these out and replace them as they get full. But I sized this where it could easily, you know, sit in my purse, stay in my car, somewhere where it's not going to be too big and in the way all the time. So there we go. Tutorial plays next. Okay, so to make our base for our mini planner, you want a piece of chipboard, 4.5 by 5 3/4. This is medium weight chipboard. You could use lightweight, but in this case, I think the medium weight's going to be better. We are going to wrap this with a piece of the Doodlebug cardstock that is 6.5 by 7 3/4. Sorry, I was looking at that going, something doesn't seem right. 6.5 by 7 3/4. I'm use my 1-inch spacers. If you don't have spacers, you can use chipboard scraps and make spacers. Okay, I've got the back of this completely covered with score tape. So I'm going to get the backing off of that. I'm going to use my spacers and lay this down. And then move the scoreboard for a minute. So I'm going to use the chipboard to wrap my cardstock around the chipboard. Okay. All right, so I've creased it. And what I'm going to do now is crease it a little bit better. So I didn't do a super job on that. Okay. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and miter. Okay, so that's what you're going to end up with. Okay, and I'm just going from where my fold line starts right there out. Okay, so it should look like that. Now I'm going to fold these sides in and do the same thing, and that will remove that square in the corner. And that way this is not bulky when we finish wrapping it around. Okay, grab my glue, and as per usual, I'm sure it's clogged because it always is. I'm going to take some score tape and I'm going to go around my outside edges. Okay, I'm gonna quickly unclog my glue. Okay. I'm sure you just heard that. My son and his friend are playing video games. I think they're playing Mario Kart, which honestly, if that's what they're playing, there's way less yelling than there normally is. But that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to get the backing off my tape all the way around. And I'm going to run a little bit of glue right along the edge of the chipboard, maybe. Oh, for crying out loud. You know, I love this glue, but it does not matter what tip I use. It just clogs on me like nobody's business. Damn it. And here comes Gus. I hear him out there meowing at everybody. There we go. Okay, so we're going to run glue along the edge of the chipboard and then just get a little bit in this area here. I'm going to take my bone folder, I'm going to push up against the side of the chipboard, over and down, turn to my opposite side, and again. Okay, so normally this would go to the inside, but because of how we're going to do this and how we're going to attach our acetate cover to this, I am actually going to use this is the inside and this is the outside, because what we're going to do is get some, oops, that's not it. There we go. Red line tape. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my acetate piece. So my acetate piece is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Okay. I know it's hard to see there, but it is the awesome gold acetate that Doodlebug has come out with. And what I'm going to do is, I'm trying to find my thing here. No, there it is. Okay, I want to score this at 1/2 inch. Okay, just so that I know, we're going to score it again in a minute, but this way I know where I need to line my tape up. Assuming we can find the end. Okay, so I'm going to do yeah, they're playing Mario Kart. So if there is more yelling, I will just apologize in advance because I get it. Okay, so there's one line, and then I'm going to do one more line. Okay, you don't want to go over your edge, like your outside edge here, which I guess it's not ultimately going to matter because we'll end up partially matting over this on the back side. But just in case you decide not to, that's what you're going to want to do. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the backing off of this. Okay. And then I'm just going to line this up. In fact, let me show you a trick here. We're going to put this in the scoreboard. We're going to put this in, actually we're going to put it folded side to that side. Yes, sorry. Think for a second here. Okay. Now we're going to put that in up here and use that scoreboard to get it lined up exactly. Okay. So we are not going to score this again yet. What we are going to do first is we're going to punch a hole in the back of this. So let me grab my crocodile and a ruler and a pencil somewhere. Maybe. Usually I have like 7 of them hanging around here. Where'd it go? Okay, that'll work. All right, so what I'm going to do is find my center. Okay. I am going to mark my center. And I want to go in from that center about, we're going to go about 3/8 of an inch. I'm going to make a mark. Okay. Right. And I'm going to use the small side on my crocodile. And we're going to line that up like so. Okay. Now, I'm going to lay this down. Okay. So we will end up scoring this. In fact, we're going to have to do that, even though I really didn't want to do it that way. I think that's the only way it's going to work. So I'm going to put this in my scoreboard. It's standing up. And we are going to score this at 4.5. Okay. Now, on this little, and again, we're just going to have to kind of eyeball about how far down. Because really, I probably should have done this a little bit taller, but it'll be okay. The way we're going to do this, it'll be fine. Okay. So we have about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go at 1/4 inch and make a mark, and at 1/2 inch, and I'm going to make a mark. I'm going to do that at the bottom as well. Okay. And then again, we're going to take the smaller side of the punch, and we are going to punch 2 holes. After, of course, we clear that out so we can see in here where we're lining it up at. Okay. Like so. Okay. And then I'm going to do it down here as well. Okay, so there's that. Let me grab my twine. Okay, so we are going to use the new Doodlebug coral twine. And we are going to find the end. Aha. There we go. All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to come up through. You can start at the bottom, you can start at the top, it really doesn't matter. I just need a clean end that has no fraying. I'm going to come up and then out. Okay. My fingernails are too long, I can't get hold of anything, and I've been typing all day at work, so you know, there we go. Okay. Now, rather than going straight back down, I'm going to cross to the other hole. Okay. And up. So that on the inside, it's nice and straight. And you may have to trim your end every so often when you're doing this. Okay. And you can decide where you want to do this, if you want to do it in the middle, if you want to do it more towards the top. But we are going to tie this off. And then either you can tie it in a bow, you can you know, make a little tassel here. It just depends on how you want to finish that off on the back here. You could use some of your charms, but I'm going to use those somewhere else. So, all right, I'm going to leave this for now because I might end up doing like a little tassel-y thingy on the back here. But now we can go ahead and cut a mat for the back. No, we can't. Just kidding. I'm lying. We have to do something else first. Let me get, because we're going to do a little bit different closure for this. Different than really one I've done, really different than any I've done so far. So let me grab supplies for that and I'll be right back. All right, so I have some thin jewelry chain, and what we're going to do is this will attach through there, obviously, from the other direction. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of hold it about where it needs to be. Okay, what we want to do is make this long enough so it'll come around and it'll wrap a couple of times around a closure piece that's going to go in the front here. Okay, and then we're going to add our little charmers as dangles on the front of this closure. So we only need about, I'm going to go 8 inches because I can always trim it back later if I need to. So I'm going to just find a ring at about the 8-inch mark. This is way smaller than I have worked with previously, so bear with me for just a minute here. Here we go. All right. So I've got that piece off. I can put the rest of this away for something else, although I don't know what, because I don't usually, literally all the rest of my jewelry making stuff is silver. I don't usually use gold, so that was definitely interesting. All right, so what I want to do now, so the little charmers come with jump rings, okay? So jump rings are those little tiny rings that hold everything together. So what I want to do is take, and they each come with, for the 2 charms, they come with 4 of the jump rings. So I'm just going to take on one end here, and I'm going to thread my jump ring on. Okay, so it's threaded on there. I'm going to take my other my other pliers, and I'm going to bend that ring to close it. Okay, I am then going to feed this, the end without the ring, through the hole we punched in the back of our book. That little jump ring is going to keep it from pulling all the way through. And we're going to mat over the top of it to hold it down flat. Okay, so then this can come around and loop around our closure. Okay, these we will end up putting on the end of this after we decide how long it needs to be. We're going to put these on the end. So for now, I'm going to put those back in that little bag and set those aside and move this stuff out of the way and find my flowers. 1 second. Okay, so we are going to use one of the flowers out of the bits and pieces. I need to get in here and find one that I want to use. So I've got my red In-N-Out burger tray that I always use for my odds and ends. And we're going to find a flower. And that one seems like it's going to be about the right size. So what I've done is I've just taken and cut some 1-inch circles with just a normal circle punch that we're going to use to kind of reinforce our closure piece. And since this one is about the right size, but I'm going to look and see if I can find a small one like that that has some gold on it. I don't think the tiny ones do, darn it. That's okay. That does. Oh, maybe that little cluster. Maybe that'll work. Oh, we could do that, actually. Because it'll be okay if you see our dot under. No, I don't like that. I'm going to go with the flower. Okay, so I have a yellow flower. I have a pink flower. That one, though, is the right overall shape. Ooh, I've got a swimming pool one, too. I think we're going to go with yellow. Okay. So what I'm going to do, and this is actually just a little bit heavier, just some packaging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sandwich. So I'm going to put a yellow one and a swimming pool one on each side of this heavier kind of, it's not really chipboard, it's the cover of a notepad thing that you'll see in a minute when we make our inserts. We're just going to use that to help reinforce because one's going to go on the front, one's going to go on the inside to cover up our brad. So got our 2 pieces like that. I am going to go ahead and glue this to this one. Like so. And then I'm going to get my punch again, still using the smaller of the holes. I'm going to center that up on that flower, close to center as I can get, and punch the hole. And then we're going to line it up And I'm going to do it face down because what I'm going to do is take, let's see if I have a smaller pen. I really don't want to do it with that one. Okay, so I'm going to kind of line it up about here and make a mark. Okay, and then I'm going to punch a hole there as well. Okay, I don't think I grabbed my brads. 1 second. Okay, so I have got my Doodlebug chunky brads in white. And what I'm going to do is find one. Oh, before I do that though, let's go ahead and line this up and mark so that we can make sure our holes are lined up the same on both sides. There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm going to find one of these that is as close to the center of that flower as possible. Maybe I need to get the black ones. Yeah, I think I need the black ones. 1 second. Oh yeah, let's go ahead and do that. You know, I started to grab these first and decided, no, let's not do that, but that's what it needs, man. It's the black ones. Okay, perfect. All right, so I am going to thread this through the center of my flower, through the hole on the front of the cover, and then put our other circle on the back. And then I will end up, you want to leave it with just a little bit of wiggle room so that it's not totally flush. And you may need to adjust this ever so slightly as you go. But basically, this will end up coming around like so. And there's your closure. I'm going to go one more time around, and then I'm actually going to take and cut this off because it does not need to be as long as I went. Okay, so there we go. There is our closure. Okay, so next up, we'll go ahead and make our inserts, and then we can work on matting the back. We can put a pocket on the inside, and we can decorate a little more on the front and on our inserts as well. Okay, so for our inserts, I have 2 little notebooks from Dollar Tree, and I thought they were both lined, and one of them is actually like this dot, which is what I totally wanted. So, and I didn't notice that till I opened it up when I got home. So what I'm going to do is open this up, and I'm going to take the staples out because I don't want it to be this big. I mean, there's my bone folder. I think that'll work easier. You know, the whole point of this is to do something small that you could put like in your purse or whatever and have it not take up your entire purse. Or, you know, I had done a small traveler's notebook for my son before. I had actually done it as a prototype, and my son took it with us on vacation when he was in like 1st grade, and he had more fun writing down what we did every day, and he drew pictures and, you know, all of that kind of thing. And that one I just used like printer paper. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing entirely apart. Oh, there we go. It just ripped out of that cover. I don't need that cover for anything. If you wanted to hang on to the, you know, slightly heavier cardstock that the cover's made out of, you could, but I don't see the point. All right. Come on, there we go. All right, so I'm going to save some of these like for junk journals and that kind of thing. And I'm going to take, what have we got here? Maybe 10, about 10 pages out of this. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make sure that these are nice and lined up. And I am going to go 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to go, let's see how wide this actually is. So folded, this is 5 3/8. And I want it to be 4 1/4. So I think it's going to be too thick even with this trimmer to go 4 1/4, or to cut it that way. Oh. Wow, this thing really does cut through everything. All right, so we've got that cut down, so it's 4 1/4 by 5.5. Okay, I'm going to now take some of my, and you can do either solids, you can do pattern paper. I am going to go ahead and just use solids from the collection. And I just need to decide which ones I want to do. I think I'm going to do yellow. And for my second one, I think I'm going to do this one right here. Okay. So these, okay, so our paper, our base paper is 5.5. I don't want to do it with this because this one, as much as I like this trimmer, does not have the 1/8 measurements on it, which drives me just a little bit bonkers. Okay, so 5.5, and we're going to go to 5 5/8, and then 4 1/4. Double that would be 8.5. And we want to go 8 1/8, or 8. I'm sorry, 8 5/8. Okay. I'm going to go 5 5/8 again. And then 8 5/8. So I'm going to do one of these with the dots. I'm going to pull this one apart and do one with the lined. But before I do that, I'm going to take my scoreboard and my cover. And so this is 8 5/8. So 4 1/4. Actually, I'm not going to do it with the scoreboard because it's not going to do it quite where I want it to go. So I am just going to fold this in half very carefully here. And burnish it down that way. Okay. Now this will sit in here. And then it's going to be up to you if you want to sew this together so it stays all together, or if you want to just slip this in your little mini planner like that. I think I'm actually going to go run this through the sewing machine and sew this all together, but I will do that off camera because it may end badly and I don't need an audience for that. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we've got our inserts ready to go. I've got my book here, and what I'm going to do is a tassel, I decided. So I've got, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 feet of the coral twine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around my hand, like so. Okay. And then I'm going to pull it off. I'm going to come over here. And we are going to tie it as close to the middle of our little bundle there as we can get it. And I am going to knot this a couple of times to make sure. And then I'm actually going to kind of like, actually I'll do that later. Okay. And then I'm going to cut this off here. I'm going to cut this one off there. And then I'm going to cut through my loop on each side. And then we're just going to kind of pull it down and fluff it. And we've got our little tassel. You can take some of this, actually, I think I'm going to do this. And it might be easier if you didn't have this on here already when you make your tassel, but it's okay. I will make it work. It's my only goal right now. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie that around there. And again, do a second knot. Okay, like that. And there you go. There's your little tassel. Okay, so next up, since we've got this figured out where we want it to go, we're going to go ahead and do our charms on here. So let me get my little cloth so 1, you can see what I'm doing, and 2, so that my stuff doesn't roll away. Okay, so these are just on the back here with just little shiny twist ties. Okay, I'm going to get, actually I'm just going to get the jump rings off of this set as well. I could probably have cut those, but I don't want to. Okay. All right. So then I've got my little dangles here, or I'm sorry, not my dangles, my jump rings that we're going to make our little dangly piece out of. Okay, so I'm going to dump those out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one up with my pliers. I'm going to take a charm, and I think I want the little camera at the very, very tail end of this. So I'm going to hook that ring on there like so. And I am in no way, shape, or form an expert on this. I just like making little dangles once in a while. I've made pins, I've done bracelets. It's just, you know, something fun when I'm and inspired by the paper, I like to mess with that. Okay, so that's all nice and lined up. So I'm going to pick up my second ring, thread it through my first ring. For one of these, it's going to go higher up. This one where it's going on the end, I actually didn't mean to close it off. I literally did this on my video earlier too. Okay, so if you're doing like that and you're going, okay, you want to move it, you don't like where you put it, all you have to do is grab them with the pliers on either side, open that back up. I'm going to thread this through the end of my chain. And again, I'm going to bend it back. And then I'm going to make sure that my ends are together. And there's our first little piece. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. And with these two, that's what I'm trying to decide if I really need them to space out that much. I don't think I do, so I'm only going to get one of these rings out of here. Maybe. I may end up with all of them out of here. I only want one. There we go. So again, I'm just going to pick it up. I'm going to thread my little charm on there. And I'm going to go up, say 5 links above my bottom piece. Actually, no, I want this one higher up, so I'm going to go up about an inch or so. And I'm going to thread that through again. And then grab it. And then I'm going to pinch it. Make sure everything is set the way I want it. Okay. And one more time, we're going to grab that. We're going to put our little mug on here. And I'm going to go about halfway between my heart. Whoops. Get back here. And the camera. Okay. I'll grab that end. And then close it up. Make sure my ends line up. And then just pinch ever so slightly. And there we've got our finished closure with our little dangles, which my heart might be up there a little high. I may have to move it down just a touch, but there we go. So that's what's going to be on there. All right, so let me get some matting and things and some decorating stuff out. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm a dingbat. I just realized this as I was getting ready to, you know, cut my pieces. Come here. Okay. We actually need to take this off because we got to mat this before we thread this through. Because of course this is, you know, typical. All right, so all I have to do for that is just undo my little jump ring here. If I can figure out, because I closed this one perfectly, I can't even tell where the end is. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're just going to grab it and bend. There it is. Okay. So we're going to take that off. We're going to go ahead and I am going to run I think I'm going to do the butterflies on the back. In fact, I almost want to cut that. I did cut that wrong. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Okay, let's try that again. I cut it wrong. So let's do a different one. Let's cut parts. I don't want to do cut Let's do that one. Okay, so this is 5 3/4 high, so I'm going to cut this to 5 5/8 high to mat it. And then I'm going to cut it to 4 3/8. Okay. All right, so that's the front, that's the back. This will go like this. So I need to do a line of, actually, do I want that on that? Or do I want this on this? I think I want this side. Okay. So I'm going to run a piece of acetate along one end, or not acetate, score tape along the side that's going to go on top of that acetate right there. The rest of it, I'm just going to use glue. Sorry, the cat has gotten too fat and he is on a diet again. He's up to a whopping 24 pounds. And he's mad that, oh, there's glue everywhere, that he thinks it's dinner time and it's not. So he is down here telling me how displeased he is. There is glue everywhere. All right. And then we'll get our backing off of this. All right. So I'm going to line that up. We're only going to have a little bit of a border showing, which is the plan. And there we go there. I'm going to lay it down flat this way and kind of burnish from the back side, just because I don't want to unfold this too much. Okay, so that's nice and matted there. Go ahead and repunch the hole before I cover the hole up completely by mistake, because that's exactly what will happen. If you're new here, then you don't know how often I do things like that that make 0 sense and then have to fix them. But if you've been here a while, you know how this goes. All right, so there's our hole there. We will go ahead and mat this side as well. So again, we're going to go 4 3/8. And I think I want the butterflied side up again. I don't know though, because the other side has the little butterflies. No, I want this side up. Okay. So this one, no, I'm not putting this down yet. Just kidding. Okay. But what I'm going to have to do, yes I am, okay, no, sorry, I'm overthinking myself here. Okay, so I'm going to feed this again through the back, and then I'm going to put that little jump ring back on. Because this one, we're going to mat. Okay, there we go. Now we can go ahead and mat this over that, and that will hold it nice and steady. Not that the ring wouldn't hold it by itself anyway. If you don't want to mat over the top of it, you don't have to. And there we go. So that much is done. So now, okay, so I fixed my blue one, which then made the matting the same height as the cover, which is fine. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one, but what I'm going to do is, that one still needed trimmed. knew there was something I needed to fix. So what I'm going to end up doing instead is I'm only going to mat the fronts and not the backs. Which is fine. Okay. All right, as for the rest of this, I'm going to cut one more circle with my 1-inch punch wherever I have managed to use it. Actually put it away. It's not. There it is. Okay. Find a scrap that I want to cut that from. I think we're going to go with the pink. Actually, no. Just make that little piece of the blue. Okay. That we are going to go ahead and glue on the back here. And I think I need to loosen it up just a hair. Oops. Not mean to pull that all the way off, but that's okay. That's why we're going to cover the back of this. Okay. There we go. That's better. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pulling that and turning it about where, so that it's loose but not too loose. Okay. All right, so now push that down flat and cover up the back of the brad, like so. Okay, so all that's left now is to figure out how we're going to decorate the cover of this and if we want to do anything in here. So I've got cut aparts and I've got tags. So I could take tags. Let's start with tags. So I would like a little book tag. And I think, actually we're just going to use that little flower that's right, flower piece that's right next to it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these off. Right at the bottom of that little tab because I want it square, okay? And then this, we've got about 1/4 of an inch from, and I mean, this may just be me being like ridiculous about it, but I just want to make it nice and symmetrical, which is not always possible, and it's handmade, so it's okay if it's not exact. And then we're going to do the same thing on the book one. You could use Doodle Pops, and that one's actually fine the way it is. Okay, so we're going to do that. I'm going to put my little tag pieces away. And I'm going to look at my stickers. And I'm actually going to find my big stickers. All right. And I think these are all going to be bigger than what I really would like. How wide is that? 2 3/8 roughly. And I'm pretty sure I don't have a punch that size. I have 2 1/2. That'll work. Okay. So, except no, I don't want to do that. Just kidding. Never mind. All right. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and just do some little bit of decorating on the fronts of both of my little inserts here. You could put a photo mat back here. You could leave this as is. I'm actually going to leave it just like that because I like the butterflies. And then I'm probably going to use some of my icons. I might get into the mini icons. I honestly am not sure. And do some more up here. But then again, I might leave it as is because quite honestly, once you get your cute little dangly piece here, you've got your pretty cover. I don't know that it needs anything else. I don't know. I'm going to have to think on that for a minute. But at this point, we are done. Here we have our little mini planner, mini traveler's notebook, whatever you would like to call it. Super easy, super fun to do, and this will be just the right purse size for me without taking up my entire purse, and it's nice and sturdy because of that back. We're good on the front because of that amazing heavy acetate. Seriously, like this scores better than any acetate I think I've used for anything like this in the past. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.